Who builds the fortunes that define South Africa's skyline, influence its elections, and move billions across continents in silence? This is the story of South Africa's wealthiest families, where diamonds, dynasties, and drama collide in a legacy shaped by ambition and scandal. Let us begin with the Rupert family. The Rupert family is Africa's embodiment of generational wealth, powerful, private, and synonymous with luxury. Led by 74-year-old Johan Rupert, their fortune soared to $14 billion in 2025, up 39% from the previous year, placing them second only to Aliko Dangote on the continent per Forbes. Johan shares Richest, a $90 billion luxury conglomerate behind global names like Cartier, Van Cleef & Arpels, and Montblanc. With a 10.18% stake and 51% voting power, Johan retains ironclad control, while his additional 7% in Remgro, valued at $10 billion, adds heft through banking, First Rand, and healthcare, Mediclinic. The family's Luxembourg-based investment arm, Rene, channels $5 billion into global tech and property, cementing the Rupert's presence in Europe. Founded in the 1940s by Anton Rupert via a tobacco empire turned Rembrandt Group, the dynasty flourished following Richest's 1998 spin-off. Son Anton Jr. joined Remgro's board in 2023, while daughters Hannelie and Caroline oversee a vineyard empire stretching from Stellenbosch to the Rhone Valley. Their lifestyle is refined but monumental. Johan's $30 million Constantia estate outside Cape Town includes a working vineyard and houses a $50 million art collection, featuring works by Picasso, Matisse, and African masters. The family also owns a $20 million penthouse in London overlooking Hyde Park and a sprawling $10 million game reserve, Leopard's Kloof, in Stellenbosch, covering 20,000 acres. Travel is split between a $15 million Gulfstream G650 jet and the 180-foot yacht Velikor, which sails the Riviera and costs $10 million annually to maintain. The Rupert's $100 million wine business, including the prestigious Lors Marins estate, produces Anthony's Rupert wines, served in Michelin-starred restaurants from Paris to Tokyo. At Davos in 2024, Johan hosted a $2 million gala attended by 500 global elites, blending high-end networking with philanthropy. The $500 million Rupert Foundation supports 50,000 students and funds major conservation programs across South Africa. But global stature doesn't shield them from controversy. In 2023, a social media firestorm of 100,000 posts accused Richest of dodging $200 million in taxes through Luxembourg loopholes, claims unproven but persistent. 2 years earlier, Mediclinic, under Remgro, was fined $1 million for dumping 500,000 litres of medical waste in Durban. In 2022, Johan's outspoken opposition to fracking in the Karoo, where the family owns 50,000 acres, ignited 50,000 ex-posts alleging he was protecting his land from competitors rather than the environment. And in 2019, Richest faced labour protests in Geneva over $10 million in unpaid wages, ending with a 2,000 worker settlement in 2020. The family has responded with $50 million in education grants and a $20 million fund to protect 1,000 endangered rhinos. But with a 20% share of South Africa's luxury market, the Ruperts remain both revered and questioned, poised between legacy and accountability. Next, the Oppenheimer name remains etched in the very bedrock of Africa's diamond legacy. With a fortune now at $10.4 billion, up 10% from the previous year per Forbes 2025, the family's wealth is a testament to decades of mining dominance. Patriarch Nicky Oppenheimer, 79, once chaired De Beers, the iconic diamond cartel that at its peak controlled 40% of the world's diamond trade. That chapter ended in 2012, when Nicky sold the family's stake to Anglo American for $5.1 billion. But the Oppenheimers quickly reinvented themselves. Through Oppenheimer Generations, a $2 billion private equity firm, the family now backs 50 African startups across fintech, agriculture, and green tech. They also operate Fireblade Aviation, a chartered jet service launched in 2014 with $100 million in assets. Nicky's conservation empire spans 720 square miles of land across South Africa, Botswana, and Zimbabwe, including the acclaimed Tswalu Kalahari Reserve, which generates $50 million annually from ecotourism. His son, Jonathan Oppenheimer, 54, helms E. Oppenheimer and Son, overseeing $1 billion in diversified holdings. The family's lifestyle is defined by quiet opulence and heritage prestige. Their $25 million estate in Johannesburg features a private lake and a $30 million art collection centered around African sculpture and modernist pieces. They also maintain a $15 million villa in Mauritius, a $10 million mansion in London, and travel aboard a sleek Citation X jet. Their 150-foot yacht, Diamond Dust, sails through the turquoise waters of the Seychelles, requiring $5 million annually in upkeep. Nicky's passion for horse racing is channeled into a $50 million thoroughbred stable, with his prized horses competing at elite events like Ascot. Meanwhile, his $20 million wine cellar boasts over 5,000 rare bottles from Bordeaux to Franschhoek. In 2024, the family hosted a conservation summit at Tswalu, blending eco-leadership with old-world luxury. The $200 million Oppenheimer Foundation funds 10,000 scholarships, biodiversity programs, and social enterprises across southern Africa. But beneath the grandeur, old ghosts stir. In 2023, a viral X campaign with 200,000 posts accused De Beers, historically led by the Oppenheimers, of inflating global diamond prices by $500 million annually. The claims, though unproven, reignited debates over the family's legacy in resource monopolies. A 2019 environmental scandal involving a Kimberley mine spill during Anglo American's management, but tracing back to Oppenheimer-era oversight, led to a $2 million fine for polluting 100,000 litres of groundwater. In 2021, 5,000 De Beers workers staged a strike over $20 million in unpaid wages, resulting in a $10 million settlement and online backlash. In response, the family launched a $50 million conservation initiative in 2024, protecting 500,000 acres of wildlands. Still, with their 10% stake in Africa's diamond market and continued influence across mining, aviation, and private capital, the Oppenheimers remain both admired and scrutinized, guardians of legacy, yet navigating a changing continent. Next, the Becker family, led by Koos Becker, 72, holds a $3.4 billion fortune, up 31% from $2.6 billion per Forbes 2025. Koos chairs Naspers, a $50 billion media and tech giant, with a 1% stake worth $500 million. His transformation of Naspers from a 1915 newspaper into a global investor with a $100 billion 10-cent stake drove wealth. Naspers Prosus, valued at $120 billion, invests in AI and fintech, while Supersport and MultiChoice dominate African broadcasting, reaching 50 million. Wife Karen and son Peter manage Babylon Storen, a 600-acre estate generating $20 million in wine and tourism. Their wealth reflects South Africa's tech ascent. Their $20 million Cape Winelands estate, with a private orchard, houses a $15 million art collection, including Irma Stern works, a $10 million Dubai penthouse, a $5 million Paris flat, and a Falcon 7X jet define their style. The 140-foot yacht, Media Star, sails Croatia, while their $30 million vineyard produces 100,000 bottles yearly. The $100 million Becker Foundation funds 5,000 STEM students, but scandals surface. Scandals hit Becker. A 2022 Firestorm with 150,000 posts accused Naspers of tax evasion via Netherlands holdings, alleging $100 million dodged, unproven. A 2023 multi-choice fine of $500,000 for 200,000 subscriber data breaches sparked privacy concerns. A 2021 labor dispute over $5 million in wages led to a 1,000 worker strike, settled in 2022. The 2024 $20 million AI grant and $10 million rural broadband fund aim to rebuild trust, but Naspers' 15% share of Africa's media market raises monopoly fears. The Motsep family, led by Patrice Motsep, 63, has a $3 billion fortune, up 15% from $2.6 billion per Forbes 2025. Patrice founded African Rainbow Minerals, ARRM, a $5 billion mining firm producing platinum and iron ore, with a 40% stake worth $2 billion. His $500 million stake in Sanlam, a financial services giant, and ownership of Mamelody. Sundowns FC, valued at $100 million, add depth. Sister Bridget Redabe, a mining magnate, and wife Precious, a physician, bolster the dynasty. Patrice's 2008 billionaire status as the first black African on Forbes reflects mining's might. Their $15 million Pretoria mansion, with a private cinema, houses a $10 million art collection, including William Kentridge works. A $10 million Cape Town beachfront villa, a $5 million London flat, and a global 6,000 jet define their travel. The 120-foot yacht Rainbow sails the Maldives, while their $20 million soccer investments fund youth academies. The $150 million Motsepe Foundation educates 20,000 students, but controversies linger. Scandals shadow Motsepe. A 2024 uproar with 100,000 posts accused arm of wetland mining in Mpumalanga, threatening 500,000 litres of water. Unproven, but contentious. A 2022 labour strike by 3,000 arm workers over $10 million in wages cost $5 million to settle. A 2019 tax probe alleged $50 million in offshore accounts, settled in 2021 with $10 million. The 2024 $30 million Green Mining Fund and $20 million sports grants aim to restore goodwill, but ARM's 10% share of South Africa's platinum market fuels scrutiny. The Wiese family, led by Christo Wiese, 83, holds a $1.6 billion fortune, up 33% from $1.2 billion, per Forbes 2025. Christo built Pepkor, a $10 billion retail empire, with a 5% stake worth $500 million, and holds 10% of ShopRite, Africa's largest supermarket chain, valued at $700 million. His $200 million stakes in Brait and Invicta Holdings diversify wealth. After losing $5 billion in the 2017 Steinhoff collapse, his 2022 settlement recovered $400 million. Son Jacob chairs Pepkor, ensuring succession. Their retail dominance employs 150,000. Their $10 million Cape Town mansion in Clifton, with ocean views, houses a $5 million art collection, including Pierneef works, a $5 million London penthouse, a $3 million Mauritius villa, and a Citation sovereign jet define their style. The 100-foot yacht, Bargain, sails the Caribbean, while their $10 million wine estate produces 50,000 bottles. The $50 million Visa Foundation funds 5,000 scholarships, but scandals persist. Scandals define Visa. The 2017 Steinhoff accounting fraud, inflating profits by $12 billion, slashed his wealth, sparking 500,000 ex-posts, calling it South Africa's Enron. A 2023 ShopRite price-fixing probe fined the chain $1 million for inflating essentials by $50 million. A 2021 labor dispute over $5 million in wages led to a 2,000 worker strike, settled in 2022. The 2024 $20 million retail training fund aims to rebuild trust. But ShopRite's 20% share of South Africa's grocery market raises concerns. The Leroux family, led by Michel Leroux, 75, has a $1.8 billion fortune, up 64% from $1.1 billion per Forbes 2025. Mikkel founded Capitec Bank in 2001, now a $10 billion firm with 15 million clients, holding a 10% stake worth $1 billion. His Boland Bank ventures in the 1980s laid roots, and Capitec's low-fee model revolutionized banking. Sons Willem and Andre manage investments, while their $200 million real estate portfolio spans Cape Town. Their wealth reflects financial inclusion's impact. Their $12 million Stellenbosch estate, with a private vineyard, houses a $5 million art collection, including Maggie Lorbser works. A $5 million Miami condo, a $3 million Paris flat, and a Falcon 900 jet define their travel. The 110-foot yacht, Banker's Bliss, sails the Bahamas, while their $10 million farm produces olives. The $50 million Leroux Foundation funds 3,000 STEM students, but controversies surface. Scandals hit Leroux. A 2023 X campaign, with 50,000 posts, accused Capitec of predatory lending, alleging $100 million in excessive fees, unproven. A 2022 data breach exposed 500,000 clients, costing $1 million in fines. A 2021 labor dispute over $3 million in wages led to a 1,000 worker protest, settled in 2022. The 2024 $10 million financial literacy fund aims to restore trust, but Capitec's 25% share of South Africa's retail banking market sparks scrutiny. And finally, the Mouton family, who have built one of South Africa's most dynamic financial empires, rooted in resilience and reshaped by reinvention. At 77, Jannie Mouton, often dubbed the Boer Buffett, leads a $1.5 billion fortune as of 2024, according to Bloomberg. After being fired in the early 1990s, Jannie founded PSG Group in 1995, turning personal setback into corporate dominance. Today, PSG's $5 billion portfolio includes significant stakes in Capitec Bank, 5% worth $500 million, PSG Consult in wealth management, and Curro Holdings, South Africa's largest private school chain. Jannie's 20% stake in PSG remains the family's engine of wealth, which has grown 20% since 2020. His sons Pierre and Jan now manage PSG and Curro respectively, overseeing 50,000 students and leading fintech investments that employ over 10,000 people nationwide. Together, they've turned PSG into a force blending banking, education, and innovation. The family lives with quiet sophistication in the Cape Winelands. Their $10 million Stellenbosch estate includes a private golf course and houses a $5 million art collection featuring pieces by Tretyakov and other South African masters. The Moutons split time between a $5 million London flat and a $3 million Dubai condo, travelling in a Citation Latitude jet. Their 100-foot yacht, aptly named Boer Buffett, cruises the Mediterranean, while a $10 million farm near Robertson produces citrus, and supports local agricultural jobs. Despite their vast holdings, the Moutons maintain a reputation for discipline and philanthropy. The $30 million Mouton Foundation funds 2,000 scholarships across rural South Africa, with a growing focus on STEM and entrepreneurship programs. But even a disciplined empire isn't free from controversy. In 2023, a viral X campaign with 50,000 posts accused PSG of insider trading, alleging $50 million in questionable gains. Allegations never proven but damaging to public trust. A year earlier, a Curro school fee hike led to protests from 1,000 parents, ending in $1 million in refunds after weeks of media attention. And in 2021, a tax probe revealed $20 million in offshore holdings, settled in 2023 for $5 million. In response, the family launched a $10 million education reform fund aimed at transparency and accessibility. Still, with PSG controlling 10% of South Africa's wealth management market and expanding rapidly in private education, critics warn of growing concentration. The Moutons, once seen as underdogs, now sit atop a sector where influence brings both prestige and pressure. These 7 families: Rupert's, $14 billion; Oppenheimer's, $10.4 billion; Becker's, $3.4 billion; Motsepe's, $3 billion; Weiss, $1.6 billion; Leroux, $1.8 billion; and Mouton, $1.5 billion, command $35.7 billion, rivaling Kenya's $33 billion GDP. By 2030, South Africa's billionaire count could hit 10, with Rupert and Oppenheimer eyeing global top 100 status. Their scandals reflect South Africa's challenge, balancing growth with fairness in a nation of 62 million. Which dynasty shocked you most? Subscribe for more billionaire sagas, like to join the wealth curious, and comment your thoughts. Stay ambitious, stay inspired, and we'll see you in the next one.